Last week, I spoke about time management. I've been told by my viewers and listeners that I'm either Superwoman or the Energizer Bunny. They always want to know how I accomplish so much in a day. Well, if you guys want to find out how I get so much done, then go take a listen to that episode. Now, in this week's episode, I'll be interviewing Jane from Jane Bellante Art. Jane is well known for her passion of mixed media and inspiring others. If you want to walk away today feeling completely inspired, then stick around for this interview.
Welcome to the Rescued and Upcycled podcast with weekly inspiration, tips on trying new techniques, and overall real talk about owning your own DIY business. Now here's your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock.
Welcome back to Rescued and Upcycled. I'm your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock. I want to thank you all for joining me on my podcast. This is episode 29. If you are new here, I do interview creatives and small business owners every other week and love talking all things business. I'm hoping that I inspire you along with all of my guests. Now, in today's episode, I'm interviewing Jane from Jane Bellante Art. I first met Jane when I was asked to be on Royce's creative team, and she was asked as well. We discovered that we were both from Wisconsin, and we hit it off right away. Jane then asked me to be a part of her creative retreat that she held this past year. And I had so much fun doing that. And I knew right away when I was going to kick off my creative retreat, I was going to ask Jane to be part of that as well. So let's go ahead and bring Jane on and give her a big welcome. Hello, Jane. Thanks for
Hello.
joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
So excited.
Awesome. Yes, I'm so excited to have you today. And yes, you're, like I said, part of my creative retreat that is coming up real quick. I thought it would be a perfect opportunity for, hopefully attendees that are listening. And so we all get to know you a little bit better. So first and foremost, just let's, for my viewers that don't already, haven't had the found you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, hi, I'm Jane. I have been a mixed media artist for more than 30 years. I am now mostly a creative business coach, but I still love to create, and I love to teach people how to create. Really with letting go of those things that are limiting you from creating, those limiting beliefs, that perfectionism, overthinking, I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. I help people overcome that to create the art, crafts, or personal brand that they've always really dreamed of having.
Right. Oh, I know even before we jumped on today, Jane and I were chatting and she inspired me, so I love it. I love it.
Aw.
Great. So, I know that just, from us chatting and, tell my viewers really, how did you officially start your business? Like, how did you know? Did you always know you wanted to be a small business owner or?
So I think I was about 19 and I just started making jewelry, and I'm like, I'm going to sell this. And so
Okay.
I pounded some nails into a fabric covered board. I hung my necklaces and earrings on it, and I went to a local flea market and I opened my trunk and just started selling my jewelry.
Awesome. So that's how it started.
That's
Okay.
literally how it started. And
Oh,
so not only did I create altered jewelry, but then I really started getting into mixed media art after
right.
that. And so I did booths and shows, booths at events and shows for a long time, many, many, many years, 10 plus
Okay.
years.
Very similar to how I started too with doing vendor shows and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
It's so much work. Yeah.
It is so much. I think people don't realize, like, people attending the events, like, what we do, we put our heart and soul into creating the pieces, and then just the setting up the event too, so, at the event.
Yeah, yeah. But the best part is like hanging out and meeting the people and creating those connections. And that's a big part about, that's a big part of what I teach as well, is really making those connections with your customers,
Mhm.
because it's like a lifelong friendship now, and they're my customers because they still support me and they buy everything that I do. But like, I think of my people as so much more than that now. And that, all started doing
Right.
the events and doing the shows.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Oh,
Because that
uh
was like before social media, way
oh, right.
before,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've been doing this so that was when you were 19 and you've been
Well,
doing
so
it
like 19 until I probably, on and off did shows until I was probably, I don't know, 35-ish.
okay.
And in that time, I started painting furniture, and the furniture and home decor became my gig for a really long time. I was in about 2011 is when I started painting furniture, and it was all farmhouse, one color, distressed. But like, it was so fast and furious for me because I was the only one in my area doing it. Nobody else was. And so
Okay.
those Facebook groups had just started, like the buy sell groups. And
Yeah.
honest to God, if my thing, whatever I posted, it was always furniture. If it didn't sell within 10 minutes, I was like, this one's not going to sell, because that's how fast it was.
Really?
Yep.
That's
It was
awesome.
nuts. It was nuts. And it was nuts like that for so many years. But because
Right.
it was nuts like that, I got a little burned out.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, when did it go from that then? Because I know you did, open up, like, a storefront for a while.
So after doing the shows, and like, it is so much work, I actually just then started renting booth space from other store owners. And
Okay.
I built that up so great and so big. I think I had a 800 square foot booth space
Oh, wow.
at this barn, a local place. And like, I just started crushing it there. Like, it was incredible. And that this is like all what I teach people too, is like driving your own traffic to
Mhm.
your own thing that you're selling, right? And
Right.
so that's what I did. So like, I was crushing it in the booth space. Like, I, hands down was like, well, I'm going to open my own store. And
Right.
so prior to that, I had another store with a partner. It really did not turn out great, but that's part of learning in life, right? And I
Yeah.
take those lessons, and now I can help the people that I coach not make the same mistakes I made, right?
Right. Yes.
But so then I opened my second store by myself, and then COVID hit in 2020. And all along this time, I've been doing online courses. I've been doing business coaching, like all kind of like what you do, like
Yeah.
inner interwoven, into
Mhm.
everything. But COVID hit. I closed that 3,000 square foot store, and I opened a 750 square foot store just on my own. And we were talking about my heart and everything. Like, that's when all of that started to happen, and I
Yeah.
just was like, not going to do this anymore.
Right. So for my viewers that don't know, tell us a little bit what happened. Like you have a stent in your heart.
I
So
do, yeah. So I was 49. Well, it was during COVID. I started having this weird, like, upper back shoulder pain, but only when I like walked my dog up a hill.
okay.
Like, it was always just weird. And so I just thought I didn't know what it was. So I couldn't get into my doctor. This was March until, it was COVID until I think it was November
Oh,
of
oh,
2020. And
that was months.
I know. And I barely even remember to tell her about it. I was like getting my mammogram orders and whatever. And I was like, you know what? And I told her about it. And she said, that sounds like your heart. And I was like,
Oh,
what?
so
And
she knew right
so
away it was your heart. Like she
she
saw.
just, yeah, because women, I guess, present really, really differently.
Oh,
And so I went and had all these stress tests. I had to wait because all the docs were on holiday break.
okay.
So then I had to have to understand that I had something wrong with my heart, but not know what it was. And in January of 2021, I went in for the catheterization, and I was 99% blocked in my widowmaker artery.
Your widowmaker. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
didn't even know it. So it was nuts.
Yes. And you said that there was really no reason why they could not really say significantly like
No,
this is what
no.
caused it or
Yeah,
yeah.
my cardiologist said there's no, like, I didn't have high blood pressure, I didn't have high cholesterol, I exercise, whatever. Yeah, it was It was crazy.
Wow. But that life-changing event then made you pivot and do,
It did make me
the
pivot, but I still, this was early 2021 when I got the stint. I was still having that smaller store. And, I literally was just like, it should have been the dream life, but it wasn't, and I was just so burned out. And in like September, I started having these crazy dreams, and I never remember my dreams. And it was like a Black Panther, kittens, and a brown bear, and like whatever, successive dreams. And so I was like, what the heck? So of course I'm Googling, like, what does brown bear mean in dream? And like every single one of those symbols meant rebirth and transformation. Literally every single one of them.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I
What a
was like,
sign.
punch me in the face. You think that the heart stint would have been the sign for me to like shut down and slow down and turn everything off, whatever? No, it was the dreams.
Right.
10 months, 9 months later, whatever it was. So I literally was like, I'm closing my store. I'm changing my business name from Morning Dew Creations to Jane Bellante Art. And then when I did that, everything really started to align. I got published in Somerset Studio, which is like my favorite magazine of all time. I've been following the artist in there since the early 90s. Like, I'm such a fangirl. And then I got published and I didn't even know it. They just sent me the magazine and I was flipping through it and I opened up to my thing. I was like, oh my God, my husband was sleeping. I'm like texting my kids, like, what? And so really, I think the lesson in all of this was just to slow down and listen. And that's what I've been leaning into. And since I've been leaning into that, I have been having just light year, massive transformations in myself. And because of all this experience and knowledge that I've accumulated over these 30 plus years, it makes me a really effective business coach. Because I literally have done everything, from the flea market show in my trunk to shows where there's 250,000 people, booth owner, online store owner, online marketer, so I'm really take a culmination of all of that to help entrepreneurs have a better business, because this is what we want. We love to create. And so really all about creating for yourself first. What lights you up?
Right. Absolutely.
Putting yourself first, because listen, women, we do it all, and we put ourselves last, and look at what happens.
I know.
An extreme version of when I put myself last, look at what happened.
Right.
So, yeah.
Aww. Well, I'm glad that you changed and turned it all around. So you're here today to inspire each and every one of us. So now, is that how, when you talk your art fusion, is that how that all came about?
It really, really is. So the art fusion is really a way of connecting what's in your subconscious mind, like not connecting with it, but like discovering what's there. It's peeling back the layers of who you are to figure out what is true and what is not true about yourself. The ways that we keep ourselves stuck, it's so debilitating. And oftentimes, most of the time, we do it because we keep ourselves stuck and we keep ourselves down before somebody else can do it to us, or before the fact that we have to like, especially if we think that, oh my God, if I do this, I'm going to fail. Even if it's something that you totally want to do, we don't let ourselves do it because if we fail. But what are we doing? What are we doing in the first place? We're failing in the first place. We're doing it to ourselves first. So it's like, it's the definition of insanity. It's crazy.
Right. Oh, right. Wow.
And so like, when you start to identify what you're doing to yourself, you can understand how to change it. And then you're like, punch me in the face. Like, I am doing that to myself. What in the world? Why am I doing that? And it's understanding that, like, if you're scared of something, it's probably a really good like neon sign that you're meant to be doing that. And that's the
Mhm.
power that you're meant to be stepping in.
Right.
And we keep ourselves from that because of fear.
Mhm.
And I really help people understand that with this art fusion process. And then, like, we go ahead and, we write, and then we make it into like a little art journaling spread. And even if you don't feel like I'm an artist, like even if you don't identify as artist, it doesn't matter. You can use
Mhm.
junk mail, you can cut stuff out of magazines, and that image that you create really concretizes the idea of what you wish to become. And
Right.
so you can page back, look at it again and go, wow, that was powerful. And you
Mhm.
can understand like the growth that you have, like, wow, I am that person now,
Right.
looking back. And it's really powerful.
Is that, something similar to what you're gonna do at the retreat? Kinda talk a little bit about that for your so because you are going to be at the retreat and you're gonna be,
Yeah.
one of the creatives and you're gonna be
Ooh.
leading, one of, the hour-long sessions.
Yeah.
So, it from what you just explained, it's kind of like what you're gonna
Yeah.
teach.
Yes. So we're going to pick out just a small little phrase. You're going to make that phrase on your own. And then we are going to create around that phrase. Um, and it is just so fun and so beautiful. And I cannot wait to see how everybody's turns out, because each and every one will be completely different.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm excited.
Me
So,
too.
yeah, that'll be
Me
awesome.
too.
Yes, and now I just wanna talk a little bit too more about your love of mixed media and really how, you started talking about you were doing jewelry, and then is that
Mhm.
really what stemmed it? Because I feel like sometimes jewelry can even be mixed media-ish,
Oh, it definitely was.
like
It
steampunk
was, yeah.
ish.
It
Yeah.
was mixed media jewelry. It's called altered art jewelry is
Okay.
really what I did. I did a lot of soldering and collage, and oh, I did the Scrabble pendants back in the day when the Scrabble pendants were big. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And then I really just started getting into wanting to know more about mixed media. And when I started, again, no internet, no YouTube, there wasn't anything. So I had to like go to the library and buy books. And so that is how I started connecting with Somerset Studio as well. Like, one of the artists mentioned Somerset Studio in the book, and then I was like, what is this?
Mhm.
Like, and so I started like ordering old people's old copies off of like Etsy or whatever, and just
Mhm.
like my eyes were opened into an entirely new world of like, holy moly, I've never seen this before. And so I just started creating fast and furiously, and selling paintings and collage. So it turned into, small jewelry to really big canvases. And
Okay.
yeah, and then it morphed into furniture painting and home decor, and then it morphed into a combination of both. And
They just got more of it.
like, right?
I love it.
Yeah, and now I do a ton because I got so burned out with the furniture and everything. I do a ton of art books, and of course, a lot of art journaling
The art
too.
journaling,
So yeah.
yes. I know when I was at the retreat with you and we did that art journaling session, it was just eye-opening. I mean, I just loved it. So
Oh, I'm so glad, and it was so fun having you there. We had the best time.
I know, I know, I still laugh. Okay, so I just have to tell everyone a
Yes.
story. So we're there, and I have this favorite pair of, Converse, and I brought all my stuff upstairs, and I set it all by the bed, and then the other girls came up, and one took, an air mattress and, like, tossed it down. Well, the next day, I went looking for my Converse, and I couldn't find them. I'm like, "Gosh, I mean, I don't know what I would have done with them," and we looked at high and low, and well, what accidentally happened was the Converse were underneath the air mattress, which I found. Well, then the next day, they all decided I don't know if it was they or who actually came up with the little
It was your
plan.
roommates.
It
Yes.
was their roommates. They took my Converse and they hid them because they just thought they were so funny.
It
But I was
was
like
so funny.
it was really funny, but I'm like, at first I was like, "Am I losing my mind?" Because
Yeah,
losing my
totally.
shoes twice in a row, and then I finally went to Jane and I'm like, "Jane?" Do you know what happened to my Converse?
I'm
And she
like,
can't lie.
I cannot tell a lie. My face was like red.
I know. And she goes, yes. Whatever you said. I'm like, I just died laughing. I'm like, oh boy. But what a great group of ladies. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. And some of them are coming. Some of
yeah,
them are coming. I'm so
yeah.
excited. I can't wait. Yeah.
I know. So I was like, oh, yeah, out of the group, I know one for sure. Who else?
Pam and
Yep.
Kay.
Oh, and Kay. I didn't even I guess I
Mhm.
didn't even realize Kay was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Yeah,
So I
it
know.
should be fun.
I know. I'm
So
so excited.
I know in a bunch of well, like the creatives that are there, I just, I talk to all of them all the time. So it's like, "Ooh," I'm so excited to, get to hang out. And I met Royce one time. And so now I'm like, oh, good.
I've
I get
never
to,
met her. I can't wait.
I
I've known her
know.
since like 2018.
She is
And then
so,
I get to teach at her retreat in April.
oh, that's awesome.
Yes, I'm so excited. So
Very,
excited.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does she have the lineup yet? Totally all squared
Just
away?
us 2.
Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I know. No, I'm
Yeah.
freaking out.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna be so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I know I had said like, when I found out that she was going to do it, I'm like, "I need to know the details," and she's like, "Oh, there'll be more details coming." So, I'm like, "All right." Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, she's got it for sale and everything now, so
Yeah. Very
mhm.
cool. Do you know what you're gonna be teaching there?
Kind of the same like that,
Okay.
art fusion journaling. Yep. Yep.
Okay. I just was wondering. Yeah.
But
You're
also
like
too, just like, I love mixed media and everything mixed media, and I'm like a freak for all the techniques and just like I have all the supplies and I love to do it
yeah,
all. So
I know.
so excited.
What is your favorite technique of mixed media? Like,
I
because you don't
That's
have a
like
favorite?
asking me to name my favorite child. I can't do it. I can't do
Okay.
it. Because it's so funny because like if you've ever seen me teach, I'm like, oh yeah, and I love this, and I'll be, oh yeah, and I love this, and oh yeah, this is my favorite. Like, wait, it can't be my favorite because I love this too, and this too. Like,
Right.
it's so
Yeah.
crazy. I'm a junkie.
Oh,
I'm an art mixed media junkie.
you are.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I do have to say, when I went to her retreat, I pull up and I walk in and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, is this all your stuff?" Like, she had brought all these supplies, and I'm
And
sure it
that
was
was
not
not even no. No.
there was a lot. And she's like, "Go ahead, use whatever." And I'm like, I was so like, "I get to use whatever?" And I there was so much good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I love it so much. I just taught in Mineral Point, Wisconsin at Shake
Oh,
Rake
I saw.
Alley.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing there. They were like, I cannot believe. And I'm like, listen, I don't know what you're going to want to use. I
Right.
need to have it all available to you.
Yes.
So,
I
yeah.
know, I agree, like, I wish that like, for the retreat that I'm hosting too, I'm like, "Okay, I gotta keep it's every hour, you have an hour to complete the project." So it's like,
Yeah.
I want them to be unleashed, but I want
Yeah.
to keep them in
Oh,
check a
no.
little bit.
It needs to be, you need to have structure for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So
Knowing
I
people like
know.
us who are like, squirrel, 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 squirrel.
I know, absolutely. I do feel like that a lot though, where I'm like, "Okay, Sonnet, focus." So yeah.
Totally. It's
I know.
really hard to do, isn't it? Yeah.
Very, especially, like, when I'm creating and then all of a sudden, like, I start doing something and I'm, like, getting really into it, and then all of a sudden I look up and I don't know why, all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh my gosh," and then I see something totally different and I just wanna go do that. I'm like, "No, we gotta finish this."
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah, I'm with
yeah,
you. I think everybody that is listening, watching, whatever, I think they understand too.
right, absolutely. So are you gonna be doing any future retreats?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do retreats in the future. Right now, really what I'm focusing on is my 4-step process
Okay.
for creative coaching. And it really, really relies on focusing in on who you are as a
Mhm.
creator and aligning everything with that, and it's everything you're doing. Right? It's aligning with who you are and shooting that archer's arrow and
Yeah,
hitting that target
right,
and leaning into what's keeping you stuck, what's making you ill, you know?
right. Oh,
What's
yeah, I know. It's
Mhm.
a cold, but
Yeah. But yeah, it's
but
like, hey, it's allowing for more flow instead of force, and it
Mhm.
feels good,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm really have been leaning into that, and that's what I talk a lot about on my podcast, along with the um, art fusion journaling too.
Right.
Just digging into who you are, aligning with that, and then everything else can come.
Right. I know before we jumped on, I had said, once the retreat is over, I will feel like a relief has lifted off my shoulders because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me. And then Jane says,
I said, instead of relying on a future event to feel
yes.
that to happen so that you can feel better now.
Hmm. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, but blah, blah. And then I didn't get it at first, you guys. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now I get it.
It's just a little shift, but these are the things that can help us
Mhm.
be healthy. It can help us put ourselves first. It's
Right.
really tuning into us,
Hmm. Right. I
and
know.
it's so important. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't do that, and look what happened.
Right. Yes. I know, and so, like, even getting ready for the retreat, I am such a I like to do everything, you guys. So, it took a lot, but I finally started delegating some tasks to get them off my shoulders so that I don't have to do everything
Yeah,
and I want to enjoy the moment. I want
absolutely.
to I because I am so excited for this. So,
Yeah, it's doing things 70% perfect, because 100% perfect is overthought, and that will
yep.
always get you burned out, always. Or it will stop you from actually creating what you want to create. Get
Mhm.
it out there, get it
Right.
done, and enjoy. Enjoy it,
Right.
because otherwise, why are we doing it?
Right. I know so for every month I put out a maker's box and I hand
Mhm.
stamped everyone a bracelet this last month
Oh my
and it said
gosh.
have courage and create. And that's what I was saying like
Mm.
just do it. Just start
Yeah,
creating because I hear so often too like I don't want to put myself out there. I don't, like what if it doesn't work? Well, then do some like make it change it up. If it's not working, that's the fun of creating to figure
right.
out how to make it work. So,
Well, that's called evidence,
mhm,
like, put it out there. Because again, I just talked about it before. It's like we're stopping ourselves before somebody else can do it to us.
right.
And like, how do you know what will happen? We can't predict the future. Put it out there. What if positive? What if it
Mhm,
goes amazing?
right.
What if all of your dreams come true? What if you get to create what you love because you get to create what you love,
Mhm,
despite what society, the world, whoever, your sister's boyfriend says about who you are or what you do, you know?
Your sister's boyfriend. Yeah.
Sister,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, your
yeah,
sister's boyfriend. Yeah, like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Anybody can have an opinion on what you do, but do they matter? Whose opinion matters more? Somebody else's who's just like, they're not stepping into their power. They're not
Mhm,
trying to create a life they love.
right,
Like, soften the attention on everybody else and understand who you are and what you want.
right. I love it.
It feels so much better. It feels good. Instead of like beating ourselves up. Like, why do we want to beat ourselves up? I want to feel good.
Mhm. Yes. I do too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to always, manifest really positive thoughts into the universe, and,
Yeah.
I liked it too before you corrected me, you're like I don't remember what I said. I'm like, "Here, I'm trying to be so positive," and then I'm like, I still find myself every once in a while, not being, so you have to
Oh, we
just
all do. I mean, literally, we're human. But the
Mhm,
key is understanding when you're doing it so that you can have a boundary in place to stop.
mhm,
And it's even something as silly as like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling on social media for nothing. That is a way to keep ourselves from doing and achieving what we actually want, right?
mhm,
All that kind of muting. Understanding when you do it and then being like, oh, stop. Or you could just say change.
right,
You could just say the word change.
mhm.
And that immediately sparks action. Yeah, sorry.
Right. No, I just thinking about that. Sometimes when I'm dragging my feet about doing something, I actually like, oh, I'm just gonna check Facebook.
For
And
sure.
I get out there and then I get sucked in or,
Yep.
like TikTok when I try not to go on either of them, but I'm like
I
swiping.
know. Oh,
And
yeah.
then I'm like,
Then 20, 30, 50 minutes have gone by and you're like, I gotta get off. What am I doing? It
absolutely.
is our brain's way of protecting us. Like our
Mhm.
subconscious mind really just wants to keep us safe. And so it makes us repeat these patterns over and over and over and over because that is safety and that is the known.
Right.
And
Hmm.
so when you realize that you're doing it, you can step into something new. You can step into what you actually are here to do. You can step into that time for yourself. Go take a walk, go take a break, art journal, make art, upcycle, whatever, whatever you love. It's giving
Right.
that time to yourself first rather than, being stuck in these boxes that we think protect us, but actually just keep us stuck.
Right. So if a viewer wanted to start art journaling, what direction would you send them? What would you tell them?
People are like, well, I don't have a journal. Like, I can't do that. I don't have a journal. I don't like, you don't even need a journal. You can
Mhm.
just like grab a piece of, computer paper or something. And, if you're just going to art journal, you don't care about getting rid of these limiting beliefs, whatever, right? I say just play.
Mhm.
It's really hard to get something started when it's a blank page. So you could just take a brush and put some paint on it, splash some paint on it. You can scribble with a crayon. You can glue on a piece of junk mail or a beautiful recycled paper, and all of a sudden you've got something in front of you. It's all
Mhm.
about playing because playing helps you understand, especially becoming a better artist or a better creator in general. Playing helps you understand what you love and what you
Mhm.
don't love.
Right.
And then you're like, it's okay to make something you don't love because it's a clue to something that you do love. So like,
Right.
I'll never do that again, and so you don't have to like beat yourself up because you made something bad. Like,
Right.
who cares?
Yeah.
I just played and learned that I don't like that. And guess what? You can paint over it. You can put another piece of paper over it. You can change it at any time.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it's really fun to just play, learn how supplies work, see if one thing works with another. And if it doesn't, well, now you know that those things don't work together and you'll
Mhm.
never do it again.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And what I think I love most about, like, the mixed you can incorporate the mixed media in the art journaling, and you can use, like you said, junk
Anything.
mail.
Yeah.
Y My friend Kristen, she always like, she's the one that got me hooked on, like, getting old encyclopedias
Oh,
and
totally.
musical books
Yes.
and, like, cutting words out and, like, even, like, picking one word of, what you want your journal to be about or what have you.
Mhm.
So,
I love that. It's
yeah.
so fun. Letting yourself explore too. Like, well, that has to go with, goes right along with
Yes.
playing, but like
Absolutely.
it just is fun. And then that's a way better way to spend your time detaching than scrolling on social media or,
Right.
all of the things that we do to keep ourselves in our box.
Right. Yes. I know I try to think about how much time people spend or okay, wait. I feel like it's a waste of time, like doing all the scrolling. Like, at least just set if you want to go out there, I always like, okay, I'm giving myself 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and a
Yep.
set
Me
a
too.
time.
Me too.
Just to check in, see if there's anything I've missed, but I typically don't even have to because my husband keeps me in in the loop.
I love that. I pop on to support the people that I support.
Yes.
That's what I do. And then, of course, I have to maintain my own social media.
Right.
So,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
so you got to pop over there. But I do. I have tiny pockets of time. And if I pick up my phone and realize that I'm about to be scrolling, I say stop and I put my phone down. I
Right.
don't want to do that. I don't want to waste that.
Right. Because I mean, I would prefer to be creating than doing like that. So, yes, absolutely.
100%. Or like I love to just, I love to ride my bike. I have an e-bike. I usually ride like 30 miles. It's like a 2-hour ride. And I love to walk, and hike. And
Mhm.
so like I'd rather, what if you took all that time that you were spending scrolling and wasting time and sitting on your chair, sitting on your couch? What if you took that and combined it into one thing and went for a walk for that time?
Mhm.
You know, it's self first,
Right.
taking care of yourself first.
Yes.
from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, but so, because you've been through so many different stages, or I guess they are pivots. You've pivoted your business so many times.
Mhm.
Any words of advice that you have for viewers as they are tackling their small business journey?
Yeah, allow yourself to pivot. And like I said before, allow for that 70% perfect.
Hmm.
If you've got an idea, put it out there. And your perfect people that buy your things, whatever it is, an online course, or if it's something handmade, upcycled, whatever, they want to see the real you. They
Hmm.
connect with you. You don't need to be perfect because perfect is undefined. And you're never going to be able to define it. What does
Right.
perfect mean? Where's the bar? So let that go and let yourself, it's the same thing with our journaling. Let yourself explore.
Hmm.
Allow for flow instead of force. And it feels so good. Like
Hmm.
just an entirely different feeling. Is there fear? Yep. But when you step into it is when you grow,
Right.
and you know that for sure.
Hmm.
Your
Absolutely.
your journey of quitting that job and like, here I go, like it is claiming it for yourself,
Hmm.
and you got to educate yourself too. You got to educate yourself. Stop not investing in yourself. It is the
Hmm.
most important thing you can do. And what if negative, change it to what if positive. So
Hmm.
what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? What if it goes right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Oh,
that is
absolutely.
fun. That is where we want to be,
Yeah.
right? And it feels good inside. You
Hmm.
feel good. And that's the most important thing.
Right. Yeah, that is a perfect example of when I quit my job, when I quit that
Mhm.
full-time job because it was holding me back and it made me and I did a lot of the, "Oh my, what if I fail? What
Yeah.
if, this happens or what if this
Right.
happens?" And my friends, they actually put it into perspective. "Well, you're not gonna fail, Sonnet, but if something were to happen, you can go get a job. It's not that big
Right.
a deal. You're hireable." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
what's so
Yeah.
scary? And I'm like, yeah, what was and now looking back, like, what was so scary?
We just doomsday scenario ourselves, over and over and over. And like,
Mhm.
if you can create the thought that creates that doomsday scenario in your head, you can also create the thought that creates the amazing, prosperous, abundant life/business.
Right.
We have the
Absolutely.
capability of doing that.
Yes. Oh, I agree. 100%. I, uh, I have been through so many ups and downs in my own little small business that, yes, I totally agree. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I love too that how you said, show up for your customer, like basically like, you love talking to your customers and being there for your customers because that's, definitely very, very important. So,
Right. They're like kindred spirits. They love what you love,
yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
creating that connection. That's so
Hmm.
important.
Right. Good. Yeah, so again, I am just so excited for the retreat and just everything that because you inspire, on a daily basis. So I
Oh,
want to
thank
talk a
you.
little bit more about your podcast, though, because you had briefly mentioned it. But how long has because I believe you did a podcast with somebody and
I
then it like
did.
kind of you stopped it and then now you launched your own podcast. So tell us
Yeah.
about it.
So I was doing a podcast with Gina Luker from the Shabby Creek Cottage. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's the sweetest pie. And we started doing a podcast together, like
Okay.
randomly. And it was really fun.
Yeah.
But it just kind of seemed like we both were like, wanted to go in different directions, and we still love
Okay.
each other.
Oh,
It wasn't like a we didn't break, break up, whatever. It was like, you know what? And my people were asking me to do
yeah.
my own. And so I was like, okay, so, that was another thing of stepping into fear. Like,
Mhm.
okay, so I'm gonna get on this podcast and talk about like mindset shifts and my own life, and
Right.
and so it started off pretty clunky, but I didn't care. It was the 70% perfect, and it has evolved. So I started. It's
Mhm.
almost been a year now.
Okay. Do you do
It's
it once a week?
yeah,
Okay.
yep. It's evolved quite a bit. And I want it to keep evolving because that means I am making the shifts that I need to make,
Mhm.
and I always follow my gut. So it's been evolving, and it's really amazing. I talk a lot about art, mindset shifts, crafts. I talk with business owners. I talk with, I've had Reiki people and human design people, and I have an upcoming astrologer coming on,
Oh,
just like things to help us figure out who we are as a person first so that we can align that with our businesses or our art and crafts that we make, and
right.
stopping ourselves from creating the life that we really want.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Um,
Thanks.
yeah, I mean, I when I first started my podcast or I was going to do it and I think I was with you and you said something and I'm like, that's it. I'm setting a date and I'm just doing it. And then
Yeah,
so
I know,
um
it's so cool. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it. But it is the thing, like you're already used to doing videos, and that's great. And I
Mhm.
was too. I've been in front of people since like 2016 is when I did my first Facebook Live,
Right.
so, and that was a hot mess too. But
Yeah.
but
Oh,
like
I know all
so
about being a hot mess on live, so don't worry.
right. But it's more of like I was teaching how to create,
Mhm.
and so it's like I'm really teaching how to, and people always talk about mindset and it's such a buzzword, but I really dig into the subconscious mind and how that stops us. And
Yeah.
so that was scary for me. A lot of imposter syndrome came up for sure, but what I knew the most is that like I have evidence that I can co-create transformation with other people.
Right.
I've been coaching them and people have been taking my programs over and over and over and over. And so I have a lot of testimonials and I have a lot of proof that how I teach and what I teach helps people. And
Mhm.
so I had to keep that in my mind. I had to take that focus off of what if people think I'm dumb? What if I'm not good enough? Like all of that, I had to take the focus off of me and put the focus on who I'm helping,
Right.
and it made a huge difference. And so I am like authentically myself. Lately, I've been recording them on my Friday walks. So I've been outside,
Oh,
really just chatting. And so it's a little bit more like organic and it's been feeling really good. So I'm going to go with that for a while and see how that goes. I'm still going to interview people and things too. But
wow, that's
yeah.
unique, like, so you're on your walk and you're
Yep.
taping your podcast. That is
Yeah,
so
so
cool.
I've been going live on Facebook on Friday mornings and while I'm walking.
Oh,
And
okay, so you haven't been
and
taping your
then
podcast.
no, but I've been
Oh,
using the audio from that as the podcast.
okay.
So, yeah, yeah. And
That's
so like I said, it
awesome.
keeps evolving and it's okay. I want it to be authentically and organically me,
Mhm.
and so it's all about, really putting myself out there and my message out there of like putting yourself first, and then creating
Right,
everything else around that.
right. Oh, that's awesome. I know you talked about investing in yourself, and what would you so, like, for my viewers that are thinking, like, "How do I invest in myself?" What would you suggest to them, or where should they start?
Well, for me, I've taken, so many online courses. Um, and it's online courses that aren't like, I'm not, it's scary to sign up for a $3,000 course, but you do it. And that's where the growth, you do it. And not only do you get the course, but you actually implement the information,
Right,
and so investing in courses that will take you further with people that you trust.
right,
I've definitely been burned, but
right.
that's part of the learning process too.
Yeah,
Having a coach is really important because it's somebody you can't see your own crap, and a coach can see your crap,
right,
and a loving coach will help point that out to you and help you change it. So
correct.
investing in a coach is really important as well.
And not all courses are $3,000, so
Definitely not.
nope,
No,
they could
but
start small.
if you know that it's something and feel it in your soul that this has the potential to change you in here or to change your business, and you really feel that in your gut, you find a way, make a way to do it.
Yeah.
And then you implement the information as you go along. You educate, implement, educate, implement, educate, implement, over and over. It never stops.
Yep.
It
And
never
actually,
stops.
I think what a lot of people do is they start educating themselves, but then they never implement it. And
That's exactly right. And
that's
that's the difference of knowing and being. Oh, I know that already. Oh, do you? Are you being that, or do you just know it?
Yep.
There's a
That's a really
huge
good
difference.
point.
Yeah.
Yes. There are a lot of know-it-alls. Like they know everything, but they're not walking the, what is that?
Yeah, walking the
No,
walk.
walking the walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
there are a lot of those out there. So yes, I definitely, the implementing is so huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It really is.
yes. So I definitely think it's like investing in yourself through, having a coach of some sort, but also just being, even like a creative investment too, like learning a new technique
Mhm.
or,
It's
um,
yeah, definitely. And investing in self is going and taking those walks, going and riding your bike, whatever it is that you love to do, some form of exercise for you,
mhm,
some
yeah.
sort of detaching for you. That's
Mhm.
investing in yourself too, and that doesn't have to cost a penny.
Right. I know. I was actually just yesterday with a friend and I said, because I've been sick, but then
Yeah.
things have been overtaking my life with my business. I'm like, I miss working out on a daily basis. And it's been like a month. And and she's
Oh,
like, you
wow.
need
Yeah.
to, that's how she's actually said, you need to reinvest in yourself. You need to take the time and just start working out on a daily basis again. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. It is because look at how how you feel too when you've got that going and your whole body just feels better, you
Yes.
know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. But yes, I feel very inspired after having you on here today. Do you have
Yay.
any last words of wisdom for the viewers before we end or wrap this up?
Words of wisdom. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
probably already put it out on the
I
table, right? I don't
You
know.
gave a lot of
Yeah.
words of wisdom and a lot of inspiration.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm just so excited to meet any of, the people that are coming to the retreat and hanging out and helping you, and thanks for having me here today.
and where can my viewers find you? You're on Facebook, I'm assuming, right? Yep.
Yep.
Under Jane Bellante
All the
Art.
places, you know
Yeah.
how like we all do. Some places I ignore and some places I post. My biggest audience is on Facebook, but and then of course at janebellanteart.com. I can
Yeah.
I've got a lot of freebies on there and a lot of things to help get you going. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, good.
that's
Well,
it.
thank you so much for being part of my podcast. And I absolutely love that my viewers had, the opportunity to meet you and just see, how truly talented and inspirational you are.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a
Yeah.
complete honor. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Now, you guys, in next week's episode, I am going to be talking about goals and setting goals and why it's so important for any small business. That is something I'm extremely passionate about. And if you want to hear more about goal setting, then that is an episode you don't want to miss. If you guys are listening to me on any of the podcast platforms, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you were watching me on YouTube, give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are loving about the podcast. And if there are any future topics or creatives that you'd love to see. All right. Well, we will see you guys in the next week's episode, and we'll see you then. Bye.